We're back on Film Noobs. We took a small break, but we're doing a little bit, we're doing a little bit something different. We are here live at one of, oh snap, can you turn off the AC? We're always messing something up. Alright. Yeah. We're sorry guys, all three listeners that we have.
But we actually have someone off camera that we can talk to this time.
Yeah. Matter of fact, yeah, Charlie's recording this, so we'll be able to load it up on YouTube. Anyways, let's introduce our panel. And like I was saying, damn it. All right, we are here live at one of the places we were recording for Sacred Mask. We're here with our key cast. We're gonna introduce them to y'all. Again, we've been recording for the last month or so, but this is the first time we get to have all four of our main cast members. So we wanted to sit down and talk and have a little chat with them. All right. So from left to right, right to left, whichever will introduce.
My name is Paige Stapley.
What do you play?
I am acting the role of Suzette.
Suzette.
My name is Max Castellanos, and what's my role? Jesse.
Peach Cake.
So many names, I don't even know who I'm.
I'm Emma Perez Trevino, and I play Mama Pita.
Awesome.
Abusive grandmother.
I am Trey Gwynn. I have the pleasure of playing the lovable Inspector Matthews.
The man, the myth, the legend.
The one.
The only. Many titles for him, but he is the man. All right, so let's talk a little bit about Sacred Mask. We had a very emotional scene this morning. It took longer than what we wanted to, but I think we got a lot of what we wanted done. Let's talk a little bit about that. How'd y'all feel about that?
It really was emotional because at some point it happened at a hospital, if I can say.
Yeah.
It happened at a
Would you bleep it out?
hospital, and it's just so hard not to have experienced something in a hospital, and it usually isn't a fun experience. So all of that eventually seeps through, and I think that also happened to Max, who plays Jesse, my grandson. and I truly believe that we connected at some level there.
Yeah, even though it was our first time, I guess, meeting. Me, first of all, I don't like hospitals. I get anxious when I'm in hospitals. So as soon as I got in there, I just had like anxiety. But it kind of reminded me of my grandma when she was in the hospital back in 2010, and she was very sick and stuff, and just the whole setting brought me back to there. So it's kind of, for me, I'm a difficult person. Like, I really don't cry whenever something happens. It kind of hits me afterwards. 2-3 days later, that's when I guess reality kicks in. So right there, being in the moment and just trying to control the emotions and stuff and get into the mindset. It was something different. I've never experienced like that, especially when other people are looking at you and you have that pressure of, you don't want to mess it up. You don't want to, so.
But at some point, didn't you just forget that they were?
Yeah. I just started picturing like if you were my real grandma and stuff like that. And I just got into that mindset, like, if I went back to 2010. So, yeah. Yeah.
That happened to me
In
too.
2010?
It was very intense. No, but throughout my life, I have had experiences with loved ones in hospitals. So it's very intense, and you do forget that there's a camera and that others are watching you.
Yeah.
Very strange. Very intense.
Now, for you, Trey, because you weren't there, so let me bring you on board a little bit more. We were in the nursing department, right across from campus and whatnot. We were on the 3rd floor. They have these bays, beautiful bays, little setups, whatever. But luckily enough, the PR department and the nursing department were gracious enough to let us one of the individual rooms. And the way it's set up, it was, you're walking into, I don't know if you've been up there, but you're walking into an actual hospital room. And everything, the monitors are there, the bed is there. We hooked her up with an IV, with a little respirator thing on her nose. The makeup, ridiculous makeup. When I saw her, I have to admit, I cried. I really did. I cried like a little baby. I'm still trying to find a cat so I can hold the cat. I don't have my cats here with me.
There's a dog around here somewhere.
No, I'm gonna kick that dog out. I hate that. But yeah, we were there. So we were gracious enough that the school helped us out with that. So again, that's why we kept praising you because again, part of the school has well, actually most of the school has opened up for us and really been one of the biggest assets to this production. And I think that's one of the better things that because we're com arts, you know, and I don't know if you want to speak on that part a little bit, how that has played into what we're trying to do here also with the film.
Well, this film very much reflects our community, and it reflects, much of the things that members of our San Antonio local community live and know and experience, and that is togetherness and compassion for others, and what happens when you're faced against odds and working against those odds. And UIW is very much a campus that's about the community. So I think as a university, we're delighted to partner with people that are telling a story that connects with the very people right here in the community that we serve.
Paige, what do you think about this morning?
This morning, it was rough. Like in the sense of like where it puts you emotionally, personally. Because like any time that you're bringing forth genuine or sincere acting, like it's definitely not faking it. It's not like lying or anything like that. It has to come from a true, genuine place. And so like getting yourself in that place of like grief or anger or, you know, anything like that, it's exhausting emotionally.
Now, you said something about actors. For a lot of people that don't know, our cast is mainly comprised of wrestlers and actors. And it just happens to be that 3 out of y'all are actors and 1 is a wrestler. So this is your first time acting. And as a cast, you know, this is the first time y'all are working with actual wrestlers. The dynamics. Let's talk about that. Especially with you acting, what do you think? Especially, I know you click differently with everybody because again, this is your first time. So every time you work with Trey on certain scenes, of course, I have to stop y'all because y'all go crazy on me. You know, with Paige, it's totally different. We have to bring out EO because we have to like, you know, if not, we get sexual harassment. You know, from y'all too. And with Emma, like you said, it's a different. This is your first time today dealing with her. So how has everything played out between all y'all?
Man, same like you said, like just I guess different type of emotions with him, you know, with Trey, then with Mama Pita, and then with over here with Suzette, Paige.
Well, we know the emotions you got.
Speaking about sort of emotions and connection, for listeners on the air who are not seeing visually, I am sitting alone on a couch. These other 3 must have really had a bonding moment.
Hold on. Let me go. There.
I'm over here by my lonesome.
There.
Thank you.
All right.
And they're having a cry fest and a hug fest, and I'm just sitting here with me and my microphone.
Hey, I just sat here and Max followed me, so
Oh, so he followed you.
I'm the leader.
I mean, professional wrestling, I mean, right before you going out is you got to turn on that switch and turn your personality up to 10. And, you know, when you're out there, it's one take, you know, you don't get different takes and stuff because if you mess up, everybody's going to see it. So
It's like theater.
yeah, so I mean, professional wrestling is very real, very physical. You know, I've been hurt a few times in the ring and stuff like that. But it relates a lot to, you know, in the acting world. And this is my first time being in a role. And I feel a lot of pressure being the leading role and stuff like that. So for me is, you know, if the director believes in me and the whole team believes in me, I want to make sure I give it everything I got from every single scene and stuff like that because it's very important. You know, I'm putting my name onto something, and I want to make sure when I go home and go to sleep, I know I give it everything I have. You know, that day from acting to wrestling to training to diet. You know, so. Yeah, they kind of go hand in hand, but obviously in the acting world, you get that break in between, and I feel that that small little break that has a dip, your adrenaline, your emotions go back down, and then it's hard to bring them back up. Compared to a wrestling match, they're up for 10 minutes, and then once you go to the back, you're already done. You know, it's like so. Yeah,
You're talking about between takes.
in between takes, I feel that that's the one that it's hard to go back in, tap in, and then break, and then tap back in and stuff like it's exhausting in the
I
body.
think that's a personal issue. You might want
That's probably me.
yeah.
No, I hear what you're saying. It's kind of like
Yeah,
comparing a sprint versus a marathon.
Yeah, like for example, like today, like getting emotional, and it's okay, like let's get another shot. It's okay, let's get back into it, tap into it again, and then okay, let's get a different shot. It's okay, let me tap into it again. It's like, man, I feel so tired. My head is aching so much. I feel dizzy. Like, it's just it literally feels like you've been at a funeral or you've been crying all day and stuff, and you just want to go home and sleep. And that's how I felt physically. I mean, emotionally, and then you gotta kind of snap out of it, come back to reality that you're not really in that world. So.
You have to put yourself back in that positive mindset.
So for me, that was the first time me getting into a whole different world of fictional that's really not true, and then coming back to reality. Because obviously when somebody's in the hospital and they're dying or whatever, it's you take that with you to work. You take that with you as soon as you leave and stuff like that. So I don't know. It took me, I guess, a few minutes to kind of chill out and stuff like that and go back to normal. But yeah.
Oh, good.
I had never experienced that either, and I stressed it's very limited experience in the field of acting. I had never experienced this kind of emotion before, and it is draining, and I'm just surprised that we were able to tap into it so many times, in all honesty.
Yeah.
I truly am.
Says a lady who's been on, what is it called?
Limited.
No, man, you should
Limited.
see her IMDb. We're talking about Robert Rodriguez, Queen of the South. You just won.
Tejano,
Yeah, you just
Tejano.
won awards for Tejano. Come on.
No, but it is.
No.
It is limited. It truly is.
Mm-hmm.
And but I had
She's
never
a great
experienced this before. Never.
I feel special.
Special ed?
I can't say that.
You can. It's our podcast. You can say that. We'll bleep it out.
We're not censored.
We're not censored. Yeah. We left the school so we wouldn't be censored. We started at school. We were actually on the radio Fridays.
We were on KUIW, and then
We got kicked out
we left.
because we get censored. A lot.
Uh,
We can't say a lot of stuff.
¿Cómo se dice censored?
Don't say it says censored. Oh man, just you gotta go. All
I
right,
gotta take off.
all right. You just gotta go
I gotta
do actual.
I gotta go
adult
do
stuff.
actual work. Yeah.
hey.
I gotta make money, so I gotta just come do these
Oh.
things.
Alright, cool. All right, so AJ, bye AJ.
Bye.
All right, so we'll continue real quick. Yeah. Okay, my monitor. All right. So, acting, Trey.
Max, I'd love to know, I think the first day of shooting was that morning you and I had a scene together. That was
Yeah,
the first
that
day,
was the
right?
first time.
So I'd love to hear from your take a little bit of what was in your headspace that morning, first day of shooting for this film, versus kind of where you're at now when you show up to set.
I guess at first when I came in and stuff, not really knowing the whole crew and stuff like that, it's like, one, I don't want to mess it up, Two is like probably coming in like, oh, here comes a wrestler. He's not even an actor, and he has a main part, so it's like, you better get this right. You better memorize everything, the lines. So I felt more, honestly, the only thing I could think of is that pressure of making sure I delivered. But once I was here and everybody was so welcoming and stuff and nice and stuff, and we started going over and I felt more comfortable, like, you know what, like, we can really knock this down. Like, this is not as, your perspective is always going to be your worst enemy because you see things and they're really not as bad as you see them and stuff. So yeah, man, that's all I could think about that morning. I remember I was like, hey, you want to run it over? And you're like, yeah, sure. I'm like, okay, this guy's pretty cool. Maybe, I don't know, like maybe this guy's super stuck up and he's like, oh, what am I dealing with this rookie, and stuff like that. So because in the wrestling world, sometimes unfortunately that's how it is. You deal with guys. When I first there's a few, that you're barely starting off and you're trying to learn, and they treat you like that, like, oh my God, I gotta deal with this green kid and stuff like that. And for me, I was like, I don't wanna do that, But yeah, compared to now, man, I feel more comfortable because I kind of have an idea already, the whole like playing it on stuff, the whole story in my head, like same like in the hospital, right after the hospital is gonna be the montage of training. Now in my head, when I was doing that scene, I was like, when I'm getting up is okay. Now it's time to go train for the big fight.
you're
So it
picturing the whole movie
right
now,
now I have an idea of everything. Compared when you read the script, you're kind of trying to put everything together, but you really don't know because until the director kind of breaks it down to you and tells you, okay, this is how I want it, this is what I want, or you don't have to go line by line. You can say a little bit more, whatever comes to your head, etc. So from right now, I feel 100 times more comfortable than the first day.
Yeah, because I remember I'm with y'all too. That very first day, we were, as a matter of fact, we were in the same house.
Yeah.
You had gotten here, you were writing everything. Max shows up, and from that moment on, it was like, damn, click. And you brought him under your belt, and you were just like talking with him, going over the lines and everything. And I was like, man, because me, especially as a director, I see the characters, but it's not until y'all are there. And that's where that moment came earlier when you and I were in that room talking. I know I have a picture of who Suzette, Jesse, Mama Pita, and Inspector Matthews are. And my vision of y'all versus once y'all start rolling, once y'all start developing those characters from day one to now, I'm like, man, dude, I'm letting you flow because you are that person. You know what I mean? And it's really, really awesome to see that development within the dynamics just of you personally. And once I talk to y'all, you are that character until you come out fully and you're like, okay, we're done. Yeah, we're done. All right. Then you kind of tweak your personality back to who you are. And I've seen it. And I've seen the progression. I've seen the dynamics between y'all, you know, as well as you two. But today I was like, wow, we couldn't stop crying. I was like, I was just as drained with y'all today from that, you know, but that was one of those things that, I don't know your take on it or yours. I mean, you've been on a lot more sets too than most of us have. What's your take on it?
On what?
On the whole dynamic of the person, the character, the interaction between y'all as a cast members?
Interaction between everyone. I mean, like Max was saying earlier, like, everyone's really welcoming. Like, I feel like we're all a family in a sense. Like, I feel like when I come to set, like, it's kind of like homey. Like, I don't feel like it's work. Like, yes, I'm being professional, I'm getting my job done, but at the same time, like, it's like there's a freedom and like a liberty to it, and so it just feels like, you know, having fun while you're accomplishing something, having that good combination of professionality but fun at the same time.
Man, that director's awesome. I want to work with him.
And free energy drinks for everybody.
Paige nailed it. I mean, life is short, and if you aren't doing work that feels meaningful, do something different. And if you're not having fun while you're doing it, go.
Yeah.
And so, you know, when I showed up first day, and you know, Max comes in and he seemed like a guy that was willing to smile and have a good time, I thought, this is gonna be great.
Yeah.
Because this is, you know, not to nerd out, but President Teddy Roosevelt has a quote that I love, which was, you know, essentially one of the great joys of life is working hard at work worth doing. And that's one of life's greatest pleasures. And I couldn't agree more. When you're doing work that is worth doing, work hard, go all in, because that is so life-giving back. But another key element is who's around you. And if you're around people who are having a good time and willing to join you in that, that to me, I love the finished product of a film.
Yeah.
I love the finished product of a project, but all the pieces that go in, and what people don't know is it's a lot more time consuming and hard work than people realize. And so you might as well be doing something you believe in and doing it with people you're having fun with.
Yeah, exactly. Enjoying the process.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's where, like, if you think of, like, I guess, quote unquote, normal jobs, like, they tend to be more black and white, like, to where you have to be, like, fully professional and you can't joke around and have fun at the same time. And I believe, like, it takes a skill for people to combine the two together, being professional and having fun. Like, being efficient, getting your job done, but like, having fun with it and the people around you, I think that takes like a special kind of skill. So
Paige,
It's-
nowhere did I realize that more than when Max and I had our kissing scene. And I feel like, are we not going there? Or is that,
No, yeah, that was a really
That was a-
touching moment. I
that was a
mean,
deleted
it really
scene.
was.
that footage, or are we leaving that in?
Never happened.
It did happen,
Joking
Max.
guy.
It's okay.
Joking.
It's all right. You embrace that moment.
Yeah, that's
It was
not true.
It was.
It was
It's
touching.
everybody.
It was touching. We felt it, and
Yeah.
we just went with it, and
Yeah.
we let the cameras roll.
That's how rumors get started.
When was there more crying? The scene this morning, or the?
Oh my God.
When y'all were cuddling,
What the heck?
Penetration.
spooning, little spoon, big spoon. Now I got a question because Emma, you worked in again with Raul Rodriguez.
I was the background.
Okay, but you
I
were
did
on
that.
set. You were on set with him.
I
You've
was.
worked with him, so
On
you've
set.
seen the big, giant, $200,000,
I-
$2 million,
I couldn't believe
whatever.
it. I could not believe it. It was just, I had never seen a set from a movie company that not an independent
Right.
company, and it was just, amazing.
Now, you've gone from there to here, independent guys.
I love to work with independent directors, and in fact, every independent director that I've worked with is not only young, very
Aw.
young,
Oh,
but
that's
also
David's flattered.
I know,
so
right?
creative.
I've
They're
never been
not
called young.
jaded, and I love that. I'll be 66 next month, God willing, and
By the
I'm
way, we're having a big party.
long-time
You know that, right?
investigative reporter, but I never became jaded.
Yeah.
And I see this as a new adventure, and I always respected my editors, and they were always younger than I, much younger, like you guys.
Yeah.
But I always respected them, and they always respected me. And I have a blast with you guys, and you're so creative. I love that. I love working with you and with your fellow young filmmakers. I just love that.
Now you know we're gonna have a big party. because
Absolutely.
Next month is your birthday, Max's
on
birthday.
the same day, by the way.
Yeah, and my birthday, all the same, like next to each other. We're not gonna say what day it is, but they're like the same days, like one right after the other. So we're gonna have a big
Yes.
Yes,
We'll probably have a rap. We might not rap, but we'll have a rap party, just so we can have a party.
I don't drink, so.
neither do I.
Oh bullshit! I've seen
Hey,
y'all's
just
Facebook pictures,
Instagram.
Instagram pictures, Snapchats. Now, I had a big question.
It's
for you.
called acting.
Now I had a big question because you and I have worked together before.
Yes.
Our first project was LVZ, my first project. And it's
Low
our second.
Riders versus Zombies from Space. When I saw the call for auditions, and that's how Mr. Mendes and I met. I auditioned for a role in this film, Low Riders versus Zombies from Space. I loved the name. I just loved it. I
Just
couldn't
the name. The
resist.
movie, like
I love the
the,
name.
the name was great. The movie
No,
sucked.
no,
The movie's good.
But that is what attracted me to it.
Yeah,
And thank God that you cast me for that role.
we'll keep recasting. you. We just
And-
love you.
And this is our second film,
Yes.
and I'm so glad to be working with you again, for you again. And
No,
with you.
no, you're not working for me.
No,
you're,
but you know what I mean.
Yeah, and again, and I know it seems cheesy, but it really is because I love her to death. When I met her, when I got her audition tape and everything, I was like, oh my goodness, this is my grandma. I have to cast her. And then when I was writing this part, and I've told her, I'm like, dude, I wrote this part because you are my grandma. The Mama Pita from the movie is a big reflection of who my actual grandma is. So today was actually very taxing for me too because there was a lot of emotions that I was recalling a lot. And so I was like, man, dude, it's just like, bam, it hit me in the gut. And I was like, Jesus Christ. But going back to that, I mean, how do you think we've done?
I love it.
You coming back and we've
I-
matured
I
a little
love-
bit.
I love being here with you all. I come from Harlingen,
6 hours.
so it's
10 hours
about
away.
it's about a 5.5 hour drive. But I just get in my car, turn on the radio, listen to Tejano, and I'm having a blast. This is an adventure for me. And I'm so lucky to be having these adventures. And my daughter, I mean, she encourages me at every turn. You know, she'll say, "Mami, ¿qué estás haciendo ahora? Ahora qué vas a hacer?" And you know, she's having a blast just watching me
Yeah.
have a good time. You know, and that's what matters.
It's so awesome.
Yep.
And you know what? It's one of those things that reiterating what Paige and Trey were hitting on. What we do as entertainers and producers of this kind of, you know, media to connect with our audience, and I've been reiterating this one story because I love it so much. And I told y'all that, and then I'm going to post it now. When we did the screening for LVZ, we had a young lady, Chola, you know, Chola from Barrio and everything, West Side San Antonio. We were doing the red carpet walk and everything, taking pictures, and this one Chola pushes past me. I'm like, oh, what the hell? I'm the director. I got my tie on, dude.
And
What's
it was
up?
green and everything.
And she went straight for Emma and hugged her with this big hug and just like started like glassy eye and everything. She's like, oh my gosh, you remind me so much of my grandma. I saw you on there. I connected this. And I was like, oh my goodness. And that touched me. And I was like, dude, I want to keep doing this forever, man. Because it's like, she had that connection. And I don't care what any critic says. And I've had other people on the show before, and we talked about the same thing. It's like, dude, it doesn't matter. We could get criticized all we want, but if we make that one connection, it's well worth it, you know? And I think seeing y'all within the development of the film, I'm like, man, dude, you can't but connect with y'all the way y'all are. And I'm hoping that the audience gets to see that. And my goal is if every single one of y'all has that one connection with an audience member, and that audience member is like, dude, I loved your role. I thought you were like the greatest. You were so funny. You little tick mark, you little quirks and this and that. You look like, oh, you know, smart room mugs on a serious note to bring him back out and whatnot. You know what I mean? The interaction between y'all two. I want to see audience members have that with y'all, and I'm so excited because I stand behind the monitor and I watch y'all, and I'm like, man, so freaking awesome. I'm having a great time.
Awesome. David, in what ways has this project for you so far met or exceeded expectations, and in what ways have your own expectations evolved or shifted based on what you are seeing?
All my expectations have been blown out of the water. Like I said, my impression, well, my thought of who my characters were, y'all have totally changed them. Because Inspector Matthews was totally, the way I had him in my head, he was kind of almost clueless to everything that was going on. But you've developed him differently. Jesse was a guy who couldn't speak Spanish, fumbled on himself, daddy issues, which you still portray, but you've changed him. You've made him a little bit more confident. He speaks Spanish, you know, because that's who you are and you've developed that. You know, Suzette to me was like, she was just a sidekick, you know, like, the best friend, maybe love interest, whatever. You know, but she's just thrown in there. She looks great. She's a wrestler, but now the dynamic between y'all two is different. So not only has the characters developed, but the way we've done some of the scripting has changed a lot. This morning we talked about it, and y'all came in with like, oh, well, we studied it this way. I'm like, let's flow with it. And once they started flowing with it, kind of like between you and Max, when y'all start getting into that fine moments, the thing changes. The characters take over. You know, Inspector Matthews comes out. Jesse comes out. You know, Mom Pita, I'm like, she's just, whew. Suzette comes out. And that's when I'm like, man, these are no longer characters that I was picturing in my head, typing away at 4 o'clock in the morning when I'm like uberly dumb because I'm like, I just have these ideas in my head. Now these are characters I'm looking at, and y'all are like, wow, man, this is just. I'm like a little kid. Sometimes I forget to see action and cut because I'm looking at the monitor. I'm like little David comes out and I'm like, I'm geeking out, you know, and it's just so wonderful to see y'all. So yeah, just the development between y'all and how everything is. Cardinals almost full. If it's full, don't worry about it. We'll keep on talking for a little bit. Yeah, so it's just changed. It's developed and it's for the positive in my eyes.
Well, you're a guy. Your head is always going 100 miles an hour, and I see you, and I can just see wheels churning on the next idea, the next project. I know we're sitting here and talking about this one with great affection and joy, but what is the next thing ticking in your head?
Well, we talked about going to master's program, so I'm gonna plug that in real quick. My whole idea was just to quit and keep doing movies, but I think after we had talked and kind of like, well, you know what, let's develop a little bit more within the program. Let's bring what we've done here to what we've done at school, and let's develop that too. So now we that's one other thing that I loved. Then when we talked and you approached me, I was like, man, dude, I love that idea, because you go to other schools and they're like, no, this is regiment, you have to do this, and that. Well, what you kind of did tell me, you have to take these 4 classes, but let's play around and develop where you're going. Let's give you a chance to express yourself a little bit more before you go out into the real world with all the equipment we have here, with everything that we're doing here, with all the students. Let's bring them on board. Let's do other projects, so we can do the summer stuff, have great fun during the summer, and then come back during the school year, do what we need to do during the school year, develop what we got to do more movies, take your time. So I'm like, that's one of the biggest things that right now is on my mind, which is these next few months. After that, I think we have like 2 more projects that I'm developing. One of them was a horror. The other one is probably the second part to this. But everybody keeps asking me to go back and revisit LVZ because they want the second part to that. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready for it yet, because I'm having fun with this, that I want to keep developing this and having maybe the part 2 already written to where we keep moving with y'all. I'm just having a lot, like you said, Paige, earlier, I love being here with y'all. And the month we had off, I was like, man, dude, I was almost depressed at home. I was like, man,
I
dude.
know. I secretly thought maybe y'all just cut me out.
Mm-hmm.
I thought,
No.
They wrote me out of the script. They're over there filming.
We
and,
did.
like,
The movie's actually done already.
Yeah, right. Inspector Matthews just didn't wake up one morning.
Yeah, he just got shot somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
We used the body double.
But y'all didn't have like the guts to tell me or something. I wondered. I would drive by around town looking for y'all, seeing if y'all.
Checking my Facebook status,
Right.
see if anything's on there. Yeah.
Right.
No, but that's really it. I'm just developing those. I know you had another project coming up, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that was up in Dallas.
I've been asking. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I just wrapped on Sunday. I had to do something while I was missing y'all. But it just wrapped, and it's interesting hearing y'all talk about an emotional scene. This film had some emotional scenes, and you talk about like it wipes you out. And I think people watching a film are either getting really carried away with what they're seeing, or they can't possibly imagine that actors would actually feel what they're portraying.
Yeah.
You're an actor. You don't feel anything.